As most of you know, there's a lot going on in the city of LA. Would you all agree? So I just want to take a moment of silence because law enforcement is truly at the front lines, and I saw some videos today that was very disturbing. So can we just give them a moment of silence as we get ready to pray? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for once again an incredible evening in Canyon Lake, Lord. And there's a lot happening, Lord, whether it's in California, whether it's across the nation, even in our little city here in Canyon Lake with everything that's going on with our lake and our entire community members coming together and trying to find solutions, Lord. I just ask that you continue to guide us and let us be reminded that we're trying to honor you in everything that we do, Lord. And let us come together as a community and continue to make Canyon Lake one of the greatest places to live in the United States, Lord. And I appreciate that. In your name, amen.
Amen. If you'd remain standing, and I would like to call Hank Hogger to lead us in tonight's Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Hank. Madam Clerk, could you please conduct a roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo. Here. Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Stever.
Here.
Councilmember Welty.
Here.
Mayor Terry.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
City Attorney Graham, could you please report out of closed session?
Yes, Mayor, and good evening. On items 1 and 2 of the closed session, the City Council gave settlement direction by a vote of 5-0. There's no other reportable action from tonight's closed session.
All right. How many people are on Facebook? All of us. Yeah. Fortunately, too many of us. But I think one of the things, kind of a repeating theme, we hear about e-bikes, we hear about kids and not having respect for our community and our amenities. That's why tonight is so special, because we are going to honor a youth who is just the opposite of that. Hank, you want to come on up here? We're going to give it a big round of applause. He likes that. You got fans. Before I get started, Hank has been on my radar for quite some time. Occasionally, he and his buddies will come into the country club, and what do? Get a soda or something? Is that what you do? Yeah, I got good soda there, and I've heard about him for quite a long time, and he has a great reputation in our community. And if you just hang out with him for a couple minutes, you'll realize that this is going to be a great human being, a great grown-up, and a great citizen one day. One more round of applause, if you don't mind. We are excited to shine the spotlight on this month's Citizen of the Month, Hank Hogger. Hank is a Canyon Lake resident, standout honor student at Canyon Lake Middle School, and today we are celebrating for him being a true hometown hero. Wait till you hear this. While riding to school on his e-bike with his friends, Hank saw a girl take a tumble on her bike and have an accident. Without missing a beat, he jumped into action, making sure that she was okay, sticking with her until she felt steady, and even following her home to be sure she got there safely. Having been through a few bike wipes out himself, Hank knew how awkward those moments can be, and he just wanted to help take the edge off. This wasn't a one-time thing. Hank has a reputation for being the kind of kid who always steps up. He and his friends are known around town for helping others whenever they can. And when it comes to riding responsibly, Hank's got that covered too. He earned five e-rider certificates from the POA Patrol. That's overachievement, by the way. That's a standard. Hank, you are awesome. Thank you for all you do. Hank Hogger. We will take a picture. This is for you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you, bud. Okay, presentations. I would like to call up Board Treasurer Jeff Bill on behalf of the Canyon Lake Property Owners Association. We can give him a big round of applause too. I mean, it's hard to follow Hank.
Nice to hear a good positive story like that.
Turn it on.
Is it on? So, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, thanks for having us. The POA board meeting was held last Tuesday, June 3rd. We had a record crowd of nearly 300 residents attending in person in a wonderful marathon session that lasted about 4 hours. Fortunately, I was in Chicago. So, Doug Schultz was honored as Member of the Month for organizing Country Fest. It was a very big event. We had over 3,000 people there. Very successful. It was our first annual attempt at it, and everything went fairly well. Lodge manager Laura Flores was named Employee of the Quarter, praised for her energy, leadership, mentorship, and this is all done because of multiple heartwarming letters we received from her employees and people that have reached out to us individually. The primary focus of the evening was surprisingly the topic of the lake. So I don't know if you guys have heard, we've had some issues there. So we brought in experts from Lake Elsinore, San Jacinto Watershed Authority, or LEJWA, and GEI consultants, and they presented more than a decade of water quality data. The golden algae bloom was determined to be the main cause of the fish dying in the lake. Many people here aren't used to the golden algae bloom. Typically we have blue-green algae. The golden algae releases toxins that damage the fish gills, leaves them starving for oxygen, even in oxygen-rich water. The experts acknowledge this possibility, emphasize that golden algae thrives in the cooler, salty water, and there's no quick fix. As the lake temperature rises, we expect the blooms to kind of back off. We also do have very high salinity currently, so we are looking into that. We're actively evaluating potential solutions with all the local authorities, including the city and LEJWA. We are testing on a more routine basis. We are also tracking the golden algae contents weekly, testing the fish tissue, and looking at other solutions such as oxygenation, algicides, shoreline vegetation. The POA also worked with the city to have a community cleanup day on Saturday, June 7th from 9 a.m. to noon. I want to thank you guys for working with us and helping to organize that. We had a great turnout. Those that showed up got pizza, and we just really appreciate their time. On another note, speaking of e-bikes, it's really nice to hear a positive event with the e-bikes, because currently we're having trouble with e-bikers. We had some damage done on the golf course. It was enough to where a reward has been offered of $2,200. The dollar amount of the damage classified it as felony vandalism. We are pursuing it with the Sheriff's Department, and we do have some people kind of in mind that we're looking at. We can't comment until the investigation is done. So the board also approved resurfacing of the tennis courts to address potential safety issues. And I also just wanted to publicly thank the POA management and staff for, in 1 week, we had the board orientation, Fiesta Days, Country Fest, and all the lake concerns. And the staff stepped up, put in the time and effort to get it all taken care of. That's pretty much a rundown for what we've done this past few weeks. Is there any questions, comments, or insults?
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Next up, Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce President John Grande.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, staff, other staff.
Oh, do I need to push something?
Yeah, red means go here.
Not yet. There you, keep going.
We good? Keep going.
Sorry, budget.
Oh, there we go. No, it's all right. Thank you, Aaron.
No problem. You gotta have a certificate in button pushing.
That's it. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, other city staff, fine citizens of Canyon Lake and others, I'm always honored to be here. As always, I'll try to keep it brief. We normally hold our monthly business roundtable meeting first Thursday of every month in the Magnolia Room. However, for the month of July, we will be dark because it falls on July 3rd. Last time we held that event the day before or the day after a holiday, we really didn't have any attendance, so we're not going to fall into that again. We just had our June business mixer last night at Pepe's, and no, I'm sorry, Monday night, I beg your pardon. And our next one will be July 14th at a location to be announced. We are also working very hard at getting Parade of Frights and Battle of the Businesses in the fall prepared. So, come check the chamber calendar for the dates. But as always, those are some two really fun community events. I'd also like to congratulate our citizen of the month, Hank. My wife Callista happened to see him on the way to school last week and was so impressed with how polite and safe he was that she made it a point to put it on the Facebook community group. So thank you, and hopefully you'll be an example for your peers, Hank. Also, in regards to the other kids who are specifically destroying the 14th green on our golf course, the chamber would like to pledge an additional $200 to the reward that's offered, and that's going to bring it up to $2,400. So, any questions? All right.
Thank
you
you.
very much, everyone.
With that being said, I would like to turn the mic back over to our own city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. In the same light of what they're saying, I'll be reaching out to Eric and make sure I was able to do this. The city will put in $2,000 towards that reward as well, because we've got to do what we can to make this go away. While the golf course is private property and not public property, it is a crime that's being committed in our city, and if I can find money in the budget to move over to help this happen, we want to help that.
Awesome. All right, Riverside County Sheriff, Captain Rails.
Good evening, Mayor, council, and staff, and citizens of Lake Elsinore. I'm Captain Jim Rails from the Lake Elsinore Station. I'm your Chief Law Enforcement Officer here in the city of Canyon Lake. I have your first quarter stats presentation. I apologize. I was supposed to give it last month, but I was at the City of Wildemar City Council meeting, and it's at the same time, and I had two presentations that day, so I was kind of stuck and couldn't get it done, but we'll go ahead and give it today. Let's look at the calls for service first of all. In January, we had 455 calls for service compared to 360 last year. In February, 396 compared to 300 last year. And in March, 415 compared to 408 from last year. If you look at the bottom graphs, you have three bars there. Let's look at your two largest bars to the right. That just gives you the times where most of the calls for service are. And most of those calls of service are between noon to midnight. The bulk of it between 6 o'clock in the evening to midnight. And I broke it down between dispatch calls and proactivity here, and kind of gave you a percentage of a breakdown so you can see which calls are dispatched and which is actual proactive. And dispatch are calls that are called into 911 and are dispatched to the deputies. We have a lot of other calls for service, whether they're flag downs or we have deputies doing follow-ups. We have business checks and area checks and those types of things. And those are your proactive type calls, or vehicle stops, writing citations, those types of things. So if you look in January, we had 234 dispatch calls compared to 221 proactive calls. That's right in the 50% range is what we've been staying at. That gives you a daily average of 7.54 calls per day. In February, we had 185 calls that were dispatched, 211 that were proactive, and that's still right around the 50% range, 46.8, which is 6.6 calls per day. And in March, we had 184 dispatch calls, proactive 231. That gives you right in the 44.4% range and right at 6 calls per day. So if you look, we're ranging dispatch calls right at 6 to 7 calls per day total. That would only be 3 to 4 dispatched calls that are coming into 911. Arrests for the 3 months, which is January, February, and March. Felony is to the left. We had 5 felony arrests in January. We had 1 in February and no felony arrests in March. If you look at the gray bar, that compares it to last year. If you look at misdemeanor arrests, we had 3 misdemeanor arrests in January, 5 in February, and 2 in March. Here are Part 1 violent crimes. Part 1 crimes are crimes that we have to send over to the FBI, and that kind of determines what your safe city level is. And those are only specific crimes. There's violent crimes and then property crimes. We'll go with violent crimes first. In January, we had 2 aggravated assaults and 1 robbery. No sex crimes, no homicides. And in February, we had 0 violent crimes in the city. And in March, we had 2 aggravated assaults. No robberies, no sex crimes, and no homicides. Looking at property crimes in 2025 in January, we had 0 burglaries, 6 thefts, and no vehicle thefts. Looking into February, we had 1 burglary, 7 thefts. Larceny is a theft, you see that to the left. And in March, we had 5 larcenies, which are thefts. So looking at our biggest crime here in Canyon Lake, it has to be theft by far. We used to have quite a few more vehicle thefts. We've dwindled that down probably 60, 70% over the last few years. And that's mostly related to the flock cameras that we have. You're not getting away with it anymore. We have both sides of the city covered, and every gate going into the lake is covered with flock cameras. And the flock cameras are automated license plate reader cameras. Looking at average response times, the main ones we're looking at are priority 1s and 2s. Priority 1s is when there's a threat to human life or property, which involve a high level of violence. Those are calls that we get to right away with lights and sirens. The priority 1s calls in January was 7.26 minutes. In February, it was 8.3 minutes, and then March, 7.58 minutes. And that dispatch call for us, different than fire. Fire, they have their turnout time and their response time, which is total time. This is kind of what this is here. It's the time that 911 is called, that's when the clock starts, until it's dispatched to the deputy and the deputy arrives. So we like to stay right around 6.5 to 7 minutes is normal response times. It's great to get it under that, but looking at January was good. February, not too bad, and March, not too bad. So working on trying to get those down. Priority 2 calls is your next level, which at one point posed an immediate threat, but no longer. Kind of a past call, but you still need to get there in case there's possibility of it turning back to a priority 1, and that was a 23-minute response. And then priority 3s and 4s are all your past calls, past thefts, past burglaries, and those types of things. And priority 3, 28.9 minutes, and priority 4, 51.82 minutes. Let's look at our traffic stats for the 3 months. In January, we had 6 total collisions, 1 fatal collision, and had 3 total citations and 2 DUIs. In February, we had 11 collisions, no fatal collisions, 21 total citations, and 4 DUI arrests. And then in March, we had 6 total collisions, 0 fatal collisions, 6 citations issued, and 5 DUI arrests. And that covers my stats reports. I just wanted to do a quick look into the fireworks ordinance. We all know 4th of July coming up. We're already starting to hear fireworks launched within the community. We're already starting to get those calls. And I just wanted to remind everyone that City Ordinance 11.03.020 covers fireworks being prohibited within the city of Canyon Lake. First offense is a $1,000 fine. Second offense is a $2,000 fine. And third offense is $5,000 fine. And that's if they all occur within a 36-month period. So that's a 3-year period. So please be mindful not to light off fireworks. You've got, obviously, dogs that will run away, and then we have to deal with that. Pets can't handle it. You've got those that have PTSD, prior military, that have PTSD, and it really does cause a lot of problems with fireworks going off. So just wait until the big fireworks show on the 4th. And given that, that's all I have. If you have any questions.
Was there something that happened in February that caused the increase in traffic citations?
The traffic citations, I tried to look into that, but I couldn't find anything specific. Usually it would be a DUI checkpoint or something of that nature. We had a few different deputies working there. They have a traffic background, so when they had free time, that's what they did. Okay. So it's nice to have those, like we have in the past, traffic-oriented deputies that are working, and they write more citations. So
thank you.
I would have to say that would be the main thing.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
I'm sorry, this is going to be a little long-winded, so bear with me, Captain. So as of right now, about 30 seconds ago, I received a notification that the individual or minor that they believe did damage to the golf course has posted on Facebook that they're going to do what's called a last day of school ride out starting tomorrow. Did you get that information?
Yes, we've been aware of that for the past week.
Okay, so are you going to, I know it's, the e-bike conversation is such a difficult conversation here in Canyon Lake, but obviously when you can see the map that was posted, they start out in Lake Elsinore and then they come through the gates. And so you guys are kind of prepared and going to be looking out for that then.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We are aware, and we're going to be dealing with it.
The other thing I want to give a shout out because, Mayor Pro Tem Castillo and myself have been begging the Sheriff's Department to give the stats that you gave tonight, which is identifying exactly the calls. And it was nice, and forgive my ignorance if that was presented before, but I believe that's the first time that we're seeing it broken down exactly that way.
I have done it once before. What it requires, because of our CAD system, I have to go through each call for service and look at them. This is probably not 100% accurate, but it's probably 95%.
And I realize that, and that's why I want to say thank you, because I know the extra work that it takes to do that, which is why it's probably not being done in other cities. So I just want to say thank you for that, because it really gives not just ourselves up here as policymakers, but also the residents an idea of what we're dealing with per call basis, and I think that's very beneficial. Yeah. I also want to say, I want to give a shout out to you, Captain, because I know that this council has made a decision to look at other law enforcement options, but your leadership regionally has been absolutely incredible, seriously. With some of the issues that we've dealt with traffic collisions, you being a constant communicator with some of our local PR people here, it has made our life so much easier with your professionalism. So I just want to personally say, I know you missed the council meeting because you were double booked when we had a discussion on law enforcement, but for me personally, I just want to say working with you is absolutely incredible, and you're top notch in my book, 100%. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, very true.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Captain Rails. Up next, Canyon Lake Fire Department, Chief Latendress.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, members of staff, citizens of Canyon Lake. Jeff Latendress, your fire chief, and I'm here to present our monthly statistics for the month of May. So, month of May, we had 105 emergency responses. Of those 105 emergency responses, 6 were fires, 79 were medical aids, 6 were service calls, 8 were good intent, 5 were false alarms, and we had 1 that was not reported, for a total of 105 calls. our response time. And as the captain pointed out, we look at 3 components to make our total response time. The first component is the turnout time, the time from dispatch to the unit goes en route, travel time from in route to arrive on scene. You add up those 3 components for your total response time. So in the month of May, we had one of our best months at 38 seconds for turnout time on average. Our travel time was 5 minutes 15 seconds for a total response time of 5 minutes and 44 seconds. Conversely, that's 50% of the time. How are we doing 90% of the time? 90% of the time we are turning out to the incident within 1 minute and 1 second. Our travel time is 7 minutes and 25 seconds, and our total response time is 7 minutes and 43 seconds. And if you notice our goal there, we put it up there every month, is 7:45. We actually met our 90% goal, and I believe that's the first time since we've been in existence since 2022. Automatic and mutual aid given. During the month of May, we responded to 10 incidents outside the city. 10 of those were in the zip code area of Lake Elsinore. There were no other areas that we respond to. So thus far this year, we've responded to 40 incidents outside the city, 35 in the Lake Elsinore zip code area, 5 in Menifee. We didn't go to any in Good Hope thus far, and we did respond as part of the fire response in January to the fires in Los Angeles. Conversely, we've received mutual aid from other agencies, mostly CAL FIRE, 4 times during the month of May. This year, they have responded into the city 34 incidents to assist us when we were committed or on incidents that required more than 1 engine. We had some significant community outreach during the month of May that I want to highlight. Obviously, for Fiesta Days, the end of May, Memorial Day, we did staff a second engine company for both Saturday and Sunday. We participated in the parade. We were at the country concert at the Holiday Harbor. We placed flags out in the neighborhood before. We obviously were out there with our flag at half staff until noon, and then we raise it up as the flag code says. We did respond to a fairly significant golf cart incident. The firefighters were out there giving out water to the Clams Golf Tournament. It was also the closing of our open house week and our firefighter memorial week, where we went out at noon on Sunday and sounded our sirens as a memento to those lost in the last year in the fire service. We're also now going through, last month we talked about getting ready for wildland season. All of our personnel went up into the Idlewild area and attended wildland training. This month we're sending all of our firefighters through live fire training in Corona. So we're hiring back people on overtime. They're going down as a crew with the battalion chief, going through live fire operations in Corona. It is a requirement as part of our ISO rating that we do this kind of training annually, and so we're completing that this month. And that concludes my report. I'm available for any questions, but I would like to give a shout out for this weekend, Saturday, here at the Town Center from 11 to 3. The Firefighters Association is putting on their 3rd annual golf cart event, and in conjunction with that, the POA is holding their e-bike and bike safety event in the same location. So it should be a great day for the family to come out, get some good information, enjoy some food vendors, and be part of the community. So hopefully we'll see you there on Saturday. And I'm available for questions.
Mayor.
Yes.
The 4th of July is coming up rather soon. Could you kind of lay out maybe a little bit of the plans for the 4th of July?
Yes, so we haven't had our first meeting yet. The Fireworks Tech Company is the same company that has been in use for a number of years. They have submitted their permit. We're reviewing the permit. We anticipate the POA, the Sheriff's Department, and the city to begin our planning meetings here in the very near future. It's probably going to be a little bit different this year with the lake, so we'll see how all that comes together. But the plan is to have the fireworks launch from Skipper's Island at 9 o'clock on the 4th. We will be staffing, because it's a holiday weekend, it's a Friday and a Saturday. Again, we will be staffing up a second engine on both Friday and Saturday to deal with the anticipated crowds.
And I'd just like to say thank you all, the fire, police, and POA, for all working together and prepping, because working in a not organized fashion on that day is not that effective. And we know for years you guys have been having conversations and meetings and getting ready for the day. So I want to thank you guys, all of you, for doing that.
Thank you.
Before I move on, any other
I just wanted to make a comment. Also, Chief, I want to, thank the Sheriff's Department too. I was told that the POA reached out to the Sheriff's Department to get some additional help on that day in regards to crossing and whatnot. I know the city is going to partner up with the POA to make sure we provide that service too, with all the activity of golf carts, bikes, everything that's happening, so everyone can feel comfortable with that event. So I think it's been a great team effort all around. So thank you for bringing that event up,
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
If I could add something, Mayor, that is subject to change just because there may be a chance that Riverside County Sheriff will not be available. Things going on in LA. So they did give us that caveat that if something happens, they may need to. I don't know if any of that's changed, Captain.
No, we've had deputies in Los Angeles since Sunday, working right down in LA, protecting City Hall, actually. They're still down there tonight. We have a big operation on Saturday. It's actually nationwide. There's a No Kings Day, and there's several uprisings that's supposed to occur throughout the county, one downtown Riverside. So we have a team set aside for that. But what we're planning on doing here is we've just posted for a couple of community service officers who do traffic control. They're trained in traffic control. They're available, so we should have them out there.
Appreciate that. All right, next from Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District, General Manager Greg Thomas.
Jeff, this is the right height, okay? Just so you know. Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Aaron, staff, pleasure to be here. Filling in for Director Burke, who is out of town for a conference. So I'm just a little taller, but she has a lot better hair than I do. So, just give you an update again, kind of follow up a little bit. The lake issue is probably the biggest item, and that's provide an update for the council tonight and folks here in the room. Kind of build off of what Jeff Bill had mentioned from the POA update, but we're all working that. We definitely understand the impacts to the community for this. It's not a very fluid situation given that there's multiple entities involved with this, but I want to commend Aaron and the city staff, the POA, definitely the Leisure Lake Elsinore San Jacinto Watershed Authority staff, the GEI consultants who are doing some things above and beyond related to trying to arrest or address this emergency situation. We're considering it an emergency. So we actually had a really good meeting yesterday with all the 4 entities to address what can we do short term. So our consultants GI was actually out on the lake today, taking a variety of samples at different depths. Can understand that thinking about how this is, it's golden algae, which is new to Canyon Lake, not necessarily new to water bodies, but definitely new here because, as noted, blue-green algae tends to be the algae that is addressed in Canyon Lake, which is why you have the LEJUA involved with the total maximum daily load task force and the alum applications, et cetera. So we're going to look at that. We're going to take those samples and do a speciation, look at toxicity, do all that science, and try and understand based off samples before so that we can come up with a solution. We're looking at some form of algicide. I'm not going to throw out what, because I'm going to let the scientists kind of look at that. We know there's pros and cons to either one. Lake Mission Viejo kind of went nuclear, and that's why they have a dead lake. They used a product that basically kills everything. And we want to be really, really smart about what we do. We don't want to, there's some of the copper sulfates we understand it kills everything. It's kind of like, I got some dandelions in my yard, I'm just going to use Roundup. No, you kill everything. Use the right product for the right application. So we are looking at that. I don't have a time frame yet. They're going to bring back the sampling, et cetera, and then we're going to all get back together again to see what it is that we're going to do, when we're going to apply it. We have permitting that we need to go through. It's a regulatory. We do not want, again, kill everything. Definitely for the fishermen who are out there, and I'll definitely like to hear some things from what they're seeing, because that's the more information we have, the better we can make those decisions. But yeah, we don't want to make a problem worse by that. So again, we're all working closely together to try to get a solution here in the near term. Again, I can't promise anything. I'm going to listen to the experts. I'm not going to listen to Google. I'm not going to AI this stuff. We're going to listen to the folks that have PhDs in algae, limnology, those types of folks, to really come up with what we can do to address this situation. So, and it changes. This water body is so dynamic. I mean, it changes from one storm, different events. So again, we really want to manage it properly for that. We also talked about doing some long-term. What do we have in for so we can start, let's get through this. Now let's look what we can do long-term. Leisure just did their strategic plan. There's some things out of that that we're going to try to caveat and use that to start looking long-term, what we can start implementing, because it's not just the local folks, there's things upstream. And that's part of the whole Leisure folks who pay into that, including the city, us, and others, so the Leisure Board. So that's kind of where we're at on that. Again, we want to strike a really good balance on this. We don't want to just go in there willy-nilly doing something. So I'll defer to the experts in discussing that and again, looking at that. So, and that's long-term. So that was really my main update for tonight. So barring any questions or comments,
What is the sense of urgency on this?
there is a sense of urgency. Right now, like I said, we got together yesterday, pulling everybody. We've been having weekly meetings and calls. Talked to the Leisure folks this morning about things. We reached out to the State Water Board, not only us, because probably TMI, too much information related to it, that there's no specific permit for the lake. We have one for our buoy area for the water treatment plant when there's situations that we need to treat, but we need to make sure that we can use that permit potentially for the entire lake. Otherwise, there's a whole application process. But State Water Board in Sacramento and our Regional Water Quality Control Board here, we're working with them. We've reached out to them to find out, can we use our permit so we can really streamline this whole thing again. Fish and Wildlife get involved. As you know, the regulatory process it could take a while, but we are pushing really hard on that. And I will give credit to the Regional Board and the State Water Board. They understand what's going on, and they're working with us in that regards. I hope that answers your question, Mayor.
I got a bone to pick because I'm like brand new on Leisure, thanks to the mayor and thanks to the former Leisure rep. So it's been a fun few months learning all there is about what's going on. But I'll be the one to say it so you don't have to. Very complex situation, and understanding that we're the only ones here in the community that really care about the usage of the lake and the quality and stuff. It's difficult when we have outside conversations with entities. And I know, speaking with yourself and Darcy, you guys are having very private conversations because you don't want to rock the boat too much, and I understand that. And you guys are working around the clock to make sure that you bring a plan forward for our residents here in Canyon Lake. And I just want to say thank you for your hard work. I know that when you're having as many stakeholders in one room or a Zoom meeting, it becomes very difficult because everyone has an opinion, and that's where it's hard. I will assure the community that through your leadership, and obviously everyone at EVMWD and the POA and Leisure and the city, it's been assuring to see how much we're communicating with each other when before that wasn't the case. I know for myself, I'm talking to POA board members, other board members on Leisure, and also obviously your agency daily. And that is something that is unique, I think, that we haven't seen before. Obviously, we haven't dealt with gold and algae before, but I just want to say thank you for putting up with us and helping us through this process. And if we learned anything, we're going to put together that strategic plan that's needed. So that's been reassuring as well. So,
Thank you, Council Member. It's a group effort. It really is, and I agree. The communications is so key, and working together, putting away egos and stuff, and just let's get it done.
yeah, that's what we want. We want to deliver something to the community. We want to do it like the mayor said. It's something that we need to do sooner than later, and I know that you guys are making this a priority, so I appreciate it.
Just want to comment on the TMDL, the total daily load, the group. And some people, they say there's lack of transparency in what they do and that they're trying to hide something. I can assure you the biggest block to transparency TMDL has is the level of detail they go into in every meeting about the data they pull. So if you have the patience to sit through 2 hours of minutia, then it's all on the table. But if you're like me, after 10 minutes, and I've sat through hours and hours of it, it's you realize pretty quick those guys, the level of detail is just beyond what most people understand.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, I would assure our residents that these conversations between agencies are occurring every day. Would you not agree? I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your willingness to work with our community. I do believe that there is a sense of urgency on behalf of our residents, and I would hope that communication, which I think is going to be key here in the days and weeks to come, will continue so that they can have that same security in knowing that all these agencies are working very hard at coming up with both a short-term and a long-term solution. And I know I've been in communication with you over the last week, and it is very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I'll just say, I apologize that we're using your update as an opportunity for us to talk about the non-agenda item that's this update. So, I will say also, a part of what we're learning through this process is it's okay to say that we do not have a plan, but we need to be honest to the residents. And if anything that I've learned with now averaging between 5 and 10 calls a day from people that I don't know in my city calling me about this topic, letting them know that I don't know, but I'm going to ask and find out has been something that I've had to work better at. But I think it's important as we're working together for this, it's okay not to know, but we need to make sure we know when we move forward with the process. And I would ask my colleagues, the city's in an awkward spot because, we're just one that is supposed to communicate and facilitate the PR between all the agencies, but this is our community as well. It's our job to make sure that we're providing as much information to our residents as possible. It's our job to do what we can from a city's perspective. And I know I've committed to several residents who have called me that I'm going to do that the best I possibly can. So, but I just say, appreciate you putting up with us. Seriously. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
I have a question that I already know the answer to, but I don't think a lot of our residents either know or understand. And maybe you could just take the opportunity to kind of explain from our relationship perspective why the city cannot just go and put chemicals in or dredge or do whatever the city thinks is appropriate. Can you explain to our residents? I'm trying. Jeremy's trying. We're on Facebook every day trying, but I think if they heard it maybe from someone who actually is the owner of the lake, that might be helpful.
Sure. So let's go back to 1904. No, it really does start in 1929 when the dam was built for irrigation purposes for ag up in Corona in the Temescal Valleys area. So, and then we as a water district got water rights from the lake, and we built a water treatment plant for potable water, not to recycle the water in the lake. So make sure that that's known. It's for drinking water purposes. And that was in the late 50s. And so through that time, then we actually bought Temescal in 1989. So we became the owners of the entire lake, knowing that the Corona Land Company, which was an offshoot of the Temescal Water Company, created the housing, the canyon. It's like, hey, this is great little bit of paradise. Let's build this stuff. So it's kind of a unique situation. We own it. The POA leases recreational rights to the lake. We're first and foremost a drinking water reservoir. We fall under the Safe Drinking Water Act. We had to get special legislation because we're only one of 3 actual drinking water reservoirs that allow full body contact and recreational aspects. We required special legislation in the early 2000s. We had to add special treatment to our water treatment plant to allow that. So we had to take a lot of the things that the Safe Drinking Water Act requires out of that. So yeah, we're the owners of the lake. We look at it for water purposes. We do own the thing, and of course we went through some previous issues with the POA relating to boundaries. But so from that aspect, yeah, we are concerned about water quality. It kind of tends to go towards the potable water side. The plant has been down for 3 years due to PFAS. If you've all heard about the forever chemical, it's in our lake. It came from upstream, so it reached a limit that we were required to take the plant offline, and we're in the process. We've just finalized design for a new plant. So then the POA again leasing, and then Leisure was new. Because when Canyon Lake and Lake Elsinore, bottom of the funnel, 780 square miles of drainage off the San Jacinto became impaired water bodies, that's when Leisure was helped created to go get money to help do that, which is what pays for and was paying for the alum and some other things. So that's kind of the history. The city is more new, and so kind of more of a jurisdictional boundary. But the fact that you're here, Aaron, the team, the staff, working all together, and like you said, it's your lake, your residents here. So we appreciate that. And so that's how the city is not really responsible for it, but you're a partner in this just like everybody else.
Okay, so you would be really mad if I just went out and poured stuff into the
Oh,
lake.
yeah, very mad. Yeah, you need a
I
permit.
just want the residents
Yeah,
to
yeah.
understand
No,
that
I mean-
there's a reason we're not.
Yeah, no,
doing
that is not, just again, it impacts the lake, it impacts, and again, that's why Director Burke has always mentioned, watch what you put on your yard, because when it irrigates, all that fertilizer, whatever, is going into the lake, it's actually contributing to the problems in the lake. So we need to be our own best stewards of our property and our lake for long-term purposes in that regards. I hope I answered your question. It was kind of long-winded, but
And
I like talking about the history of the thing. It's complicated.
just to be clear, you can't even go out and just dump things in the lake.
Correct. No, and we have a permit.
Yeah.
For our area. We can't just go out and apply stuff. And again, we have to submit a plan to the regulators. Once we know what we're going to do, or once we come up with a plan, we have to get that approved and make sure that we're not doing things. So,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Yes.
Based off that plan, what's kind of that process, that time frame looks like?
Good question. We actually have the consultant working on the protocols now to streamline some of that while we're also talking to the regulators. I don't know how long the regulators take, but, I'm hoping no more than a month to at least get through the permitting and understand who can do what. If we have to go out for a new permit, that could take months. But if we can utilize what we have, it may streamline the whole process. We still have to submit a plan for what we're going to do, but it would take probably 3 to 4 times the amount of time off the schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
We good?
Yeah, the last question I have is, and I know we've talked about temperature and how that kind of, golden algae really can't live in heat, right? So as we know, we're approaching the summer months, and I don't think we've had a consistency where we've had heat in a couple weeks. It's always been 95 and then this random 60-degree temperature. So I know that there's been conversations of, if we're able to get the permit, we have a time frame at which we can do it, right? Because we know golden algae will go dormant and then come back during the colder months. So regardless, it probably needs to be treated. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
And again, depending on what they, like anything else, you're going to do another test right before.
Right.
Just to verify what, you don't want to put 2 gallons per whatever square foot if you can only use a gallon, et cetera.
Yeah.
The give and take, the pros and cons of that.
And we do know that, we've seen it. I mean, everyone's been out there. The lake looks better than it did yesterday, and it looked better than it did 2 days ago. I mean, that's, it's not where we want it, obviously, but we can definitely see that it's starting to change. And like you said, it's very active.
But, one point, communications is key. I agree. We agree with you there. When you have 4 or 5 entities involved, it's hard to do that, but I agree. We need to get better at that, and we will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time. All right, as we've been doing over the last few months, the opportunity to spotlight some of the great organizations that serve not only our community, but our county. And it's called our Nonprofit Spotlight. And tonight, we are going to spotlight a very good organization that helps a lot of people throughout Riverside County, and that is Riverside Recovery Resources. And in doing so, I would like to introduce to all of you Bernie Traw. It's very good to finally meet you.
Well, it's good to meet you also. Thank you for inviting me, Mayor Pro Tem and Council and audience. We welcome the opportunity we do it. But and I believe we have a short history that we put on a slide. The organization was founded by Jack Ketstever in '85, who unfortunately wound up with poor health, and I wound up joining the board. And when Jack passed away, I was elected chairman of the board in '95 and have remained so since. We have 2 locations, one in Lake Elsinore right down the street, and one up in Riverside County, up at the city. Our mission is to educate the community effectively on drugs and alcohol and the effect of it, and offer intervention, education, and rehabilitation. We do that through a number of services, starting with the county has licensed us to do the drunk driving lessons, that if you're unfortunate enough, like the 4 people that got one this month, they'll be showing up at a school near me or us, and we will give them the education about their alcohol and the possibility of retaining their license. But beyond that, we do inpatient, outpatient counseling on all drug and alcohol addictions. We take programs into the local schools, the high school, grade school, to do, again, education, prevention. It's a lot easier to stop the problem before it starts than it is to stop it after it starts. And so as much of that as we get to do, we continually put our efforts in it. One of the programs that lately we've been putting a lot of emphasis in is a community outreach of Know Your Limit. We've been doing it at all the public events around the community, like the Rod Run and et cetera, where surprisingly, most of us who may or may not have had one too many have been lucky enough not to get a drunk driving ticket, never really took a breathalyzer, and have no idea what 1 drink or 2 drinks or 3 drinks or just a glass of wine have on you. So we go to community events like your 4th of July or Memorial Day or whatever, and we set up a booth where we allow you to come by and actually get a breathalyzer from any libation you may have had at that event and be surprised by what happened. And it has really raised people's awareness of how little alcohol it takes to make you inebriated and fail a drunk driving test. So, with that, any questions about our organization, location, what we may be able to do together? Happy to answer them.
You have any questions?
For being here. Appreciate it.
No. Thank you for asking us to come.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I see a need for your program literally forever. You talk about job security.
We don't run out of customers.
Yeah, so hopefully you don't run out of willpower to keep the fired up. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very
I
much.
tell you what, we really do appreciate you taking the time to come here. You are a very vital organization throughout Riverside County. The court may send you to your organization, but I know firsthand, once you're there, you have a great staff, they do great work. You give everyone the opportunity to feel good about themselves again, and I really do appreciate that. And Captain Rails and I think we've had a conversation regarding the Know Your Limit campaign, and maybe we can help you out with that, okay?
Let us know when we can set one up. We'll be happy to do so. Thank you again.
Thank you, Bernie. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
As you may or may not know, we are dark in July, which means we will not be having a council meeting, and we will resume back in August. I would think it would be appropriate for our residents if we gave our city manager, Aaron Brown, the opportunity to give us an update on the police department.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Very excited to give you an update on the Canyon Lake Police Department. It's something that is new to say, but in the very near future, we will all get very used to saying the Canyon Lake Police Department. I will tell you, I've made the comment to each of you individually. I'm very excited to be a part of starting this. The amount of work, as Chris Mann before me with the fire department knows, is tremendous. And frankly, I'd be jealous if anybody else was doing it and I didn't get to do it. So thank you very much for this opportunity to be a part of this. I'm looking very forward to what we are going to be able to deliver to you and to the city. With that said, I've got our 2025 June Police Department update. We're going to update you on 3 individual areas: personnel, construction, and vehicles. I will tell you that these are kind of the 3 pillars of what everything we're doing is founded upon, and it's almost a little backwards because the vehicles part is the biggest dynamic of what we're trying to figure out. So I'll save that part for last. In terms of personnel, I cannot believe I'm even saying this, but really well over a dozen law enforcement personnel have reached out to join an interest list that we haven't even built yet. We're not to that point, and we literally have law enforcement professionals calling saying, how do I get in? What do I do? Where do I sign up? And we're kind of at that, like, just give us a little bit of time. But what an awesome problem to have, right? It's giving us an opportunity to start to partner with individuals where they're calling saying, hey, I want in on this, anything I can do. And so you have a question at that time and you've got somebody on the phone, you go, hey, I have a question. How does this work? What do I do here? So it's been nice. One of the questions I got that's very important is, hey, is code enforcement going away? And at the time that we had talked about this and kind of a little bit of an update and what our budget was, we had not talked to code enforcement personnel about how this would all work. So it was really important to just deal with numbers and not talk about people or positions, because I want to reiterate here, every person in a position is one of our people. So it was the respectful thing to do. It was the right thing to do. So I did have an opportunity personally to sit down and talk to code enforcement and basically say, look, you'll be given an opportunity to train and move into a CSO position if you so desire, or if not, the code enforcement position would go away. What I have done, we've got one that communicated to us that they would like to move forward as a CSO, and one that said, yeah, that may be it for me. I don't really want to, frankly, I don't want to learn another career at this time. I'm kind of wrapping it up, and so I'm working with all the local city managers in my Southwest Riverside group. I've asked them any code enforcement positions they have that come up that are in the area, if they could let me know so I can let our staff know they can get right on. They're not guaranteeing us anything, but it's going to come with a recommendation from a fellow city manager, and that usually matters, frankly. So there's no truth that we're getting rid of code enforcement. We're being dynamic in everything we're doing, and the CSOs will take on many duties, and one of those duties is code enforcement. So in terms of how the city feels the impact of code enforcement, that will not change in any way. But who is frankly delivering that notice may change. It may be a different person, it may be in a different vehicle, or it could be in the same vehicle, because the CSOs are going to share the code enforcement vehicles plus the new vehicles, and we'll get into that part as well. So no truth to the city abandoning our responsibility to enforce the code that this council has approved. So I want to make sure that that's clear. Construction. Whew. This is fun. We're a lot of staff and council had heard me say, like, we'd talk about what we're going to do with phase 3 of construction, or what we doing with the old chamber, and I'd always say, don't worry about it, leave it alone, just leave it alone, because as we talked about this, I knew there was a pretty high potential that council was going to either start it or start a police department or put forth that effort, and I wanted to make sure everything was prepared. So I have defended that area from everyone. The clerk's over there shaking her head from all enemies, foreign and domestic, from that area. And with the intent that this may be the direction we go. And now that we're here, we're in a position where we're prepared. So PD is going to occupy 3 areas of City Hall. It'll be 2 upstairs and 1 downstairs. Current code enforcement area, so when you walk in the double doors and go to the left, that will be where the CSOs are and records for anything you need. And then right next to that area is where the deputies are currently. So we've got a drawing for that area and a drawing for downstairs. The area for the CSOs is not going to change. All we're going to be doing is putting secure glass all the way over those counters and a door to the left, so they will be inaccessible other than through the secure door. And then there'll be desks behind that you can see. So nothing's going to change in there. I don't have a drawing of that. The old council chamber will become the secure area for all sworn personnel. So what we have here is a drawing of what you will see downstairs. So you can see the storage closet on the bottom. That door right to the side of it is currently the double doors that you come in from outside, whether you take the stairs or the elevator. That whole area will be secure. It will be down to basically the sworn personnel in there, and membership has its privileges. I'll probably make an exception for me so that I can go down and talk to the chief and not have to wait to get escorted or constantly call the chief to come up and talk. So that'll be that whole area. So you got an armory, an evidence room, the server room, which is also where all of the secure network will be. Everything on the left is the POA. So if you look at that side, certainly not that we don't trust the POA or any of that, but we have to put a secure wall there. It's just because it's an outside entity. So before any of the rumors start that the city did this because the POA, has nothing to do with the POA. It could be anybody. It could be, anyone you can think of. Because they're an external entity, we have to treat everybody the same. The offices in the back will be lieutenant's office, maybe the sergeant's office, depending on if we do sergeant's investigators. There's ways we're looking at that. Chief's office there, an interview room, holding cell, excuse me, holding cell there on the bottom right. There's a lot of misunderstanding of what is required with a holding cell, and people think you have to have an entire jail. And frankly, as Mayor Pro Tem Castillo knows, you don't want a jail now. Now is not the time to have a jail. It's regulated entirely different than a holding area. And for the crime that we have, this holding cell is more than enough. I think that covers that entire area. Now, the next area, so when you walk in the hallway there, that is the door to where the current deputies area is. When you go to that second door, that was actually a closet behind the area that we're extending. So we're going to have a men's locker room and a women's locker room, not because we have a plan to hire a ratio or anything, but we're prepared for anything that may happen. So there would be a men's locker room that we have right now planned with 8, women's locker with 4. In the event that we do not have any female employees, that would be used as both. In the event we didn't have any men's employees, same thing. It would be just an area that is shared. We did add these showers. Our anticipated budget was somewhere around that $600,000 range for all of this construction. We're now at about $550,000. The showers just got added, so we're going to be right at or a little bit under what our budget is. I'll be bringing that to council in August. We are asking for a continuation of kind of what we've done with phase 1 and phase 2. So council will have that to vote on August 11th. 12th? Oh, she's looking too. If the clerk doesn't know, then I feel a little bit better. I think it's the 11th. 13th. Okay, there we go. So next area, maybe. Vehicle information. Holy bleeping cow. So we did everything we could on these vehicles because that's as many know, I've come from other cities where this is one of the things we had to be on all the time. And then post-COVID, you could have a year or more wait on vehicles. I have never in my life seen what we went through just after COVID when we got issued VINs where I was working, which means they're on the factory floor to produce. They're on the production floor, and they sent us an email canceling all of our orders. That means that the VINs were already processing it. So we're in a position where we were going to go with the Ford Interceptors, kind of match up with what Sheriff's doing, that whole line. And we moved heaven and earth. We set record speeds for government work. Worked with the city attorney's office, who has been amazing to try to find a way where we came up with a route where we could initiate the purchase, match our deadline, and then if council said no, had it in the contract that we could cancel with no issue. We got everything done, and I'm talking marathon meetings between multiple people. We get our order in to Ford, and Ford said, "Oh, we decided to stop taking orders last week." And so we're scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. We had, fortunately, Riverside County Sheriff has been amazing. Met with Captain Rails and Under Sheriff Sharp, and they made some offers like, look, there's a couple things you could do if you get into a pinch. You could buy some of our old vehicles, so we had looked at that. But there wasn't any advantage to that because they're very frugal as well, and they strip down every bit of what they put into their vehicles. So we couldn't really buy it and get a discount. We would have to go get in line at one of the outfitters anyway. And you're getting a vehicle that Riverside County Sheriff has deemed a vehicle they don't want anymore. So your chances are pretty high that there's going to be something wrong with it. Your maintenance is going to increase. But we wanted to look at a frugal option. And then they also said, hey, look, we buy them at 100 a time. You need 9. We'll just sell you 9 at our cost and we'll figure it out. But the problem with that is we didn't want to take the hit of buying 9 up front. That's why we'd been looking at it. It's kind of a lease to own where you lease it and then there's a residual buyout. That gives us the ability to pay for those vehicles over 3 years. Our anticipation with what we do with these vehicles and the mileage we would have compared to many of the others is we may get 8 to 10 out of a vehicle that, and I'll tell you, just talking to Armando Villa from Menifee, they started their department in 21. They're phasing out vehicles. So that's 4 years of use they get. We're going to get 8 to 10, which is extremely beneficial. So we did stay with the lease model. Started kind of scrambling back out to what we needed to do, and the answer is simple. It's the Dodge Durango Pursuit. We met with Dodge, and this is, many of you have probably heard about the 400 vehicles that the CHP just ordered to blend in with traffic and get all these individuals that they say are driving like video game players. This is the exact same vehicle using the same method as the CHP. The difference between Dodge and many of the other vendors is Dodge owns it all the way through. So when we lease our Dodge vehicles, it goes to the factory to be produced. It leaves the factory, goes about 8 miles down the road to an outfitter that will do everything we need them to do, and then they send it back to Dodge. Dodge sends it to us, and it's one package. Very happy with how the process is. Very happy with the comparison of what they do versus the of what they do versus the Interceptors. So I'm a tried and true Interceptor guy. That's the way I was raised in my career. This is like ordering these Dodges is like having a UCLA grad, wear USC gear. But this is what's right for the city without a doubt. And I don't know if you can say badass in a council meeting, but that is what these Durango Pursuits are. So I'm happy that we've got that figured out. And through Enterprise using the Sourcewell, what was the word I'm looking for here? co-op buying, pre-bid cooperative purchase, thank you. We're able to go through this process. We'll have these vehicles for your approval in August. Our August order, they're fine with committing to completely done and to us by March so that we're ready to go. I firmly believe that anybody that tells me that they'll have us something in March means we'll probably see it in April. So we'll be fine if that happens. This has been a tremendous amount of work that is one of the things I'd ask council for is we'd be able to kind of partner with somebody or some money to hire another firm or hire some professionals to do this. Frankly, I haven't had time to interview those professionals because I've been doing it. So I'm just going to stay on it until I feel like it gets to a point where I need help. We've got local individuals. We've got the retired undersheriff from Santa Barbara that lives in our community here who has said he'd be happy to help. So I feel like we've got enough help around here as well as other current active law enforcement professionals that we're probably going to be able to do this without having to bring somebody in. But I am not too proud to wave the flag if we get to that point. But as of right now, I mean, as you can tell by the update, a tremendous amount of work is done. We'll be submitting all of this to CalPost next week, looking for any questions or guidance they have, start getting all that process done. And then Kayla Malin, our administrative services senior analyst, has been killing it and got me some draft job descriptions so that we can start building our list, getting things together, and we'll be in a very, very good spot for our August update with the anticipation that we'll have 2 agenda items moving us very far down this road. And with that, that's all I have, but would be happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Questions?
Excited.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Very cool.
Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments on the consent calendar or non-agenda items?
Mayor, we have no public comment tonight.
Excellent. Council, would anyone like to pull a consent calendar item? If not, I move and would need a second to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo? Councilmember Smith?
No, I like that. Here as well. Aye.
Councilmember Stieber?
Yes.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Terry?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
It's been a day, hasn't it, Mayor Pro Tem? I'm here. I'm good.
I would like to announce that the public hearing is now open and state the item being adopt resolution establishing emergency medical services EMS program fees for fiscal year 2025-26 and providing for collection thereof the property tax roll. And we have a presentation by our city manager, Stephen Graham, and our city manager, Aaron Brown. City attorney, Steve.
This will be a very, very short presentation. This is the same thing we discussed 2 meetings ago for the public hearing. There was a required notice period. Staff recommendation remains that we leave EMS fees as they are. So it is my hope that this is one of the quickest public hearings that the city has had.
No significant legal comments, Mayor.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed, and it is 7:44. We need a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-29.
Motion.
I'll second it.
And Madam Clerk, would you please conduct A roll call vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Stieber?
Yes.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Terry?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, I would also like to announce that at 7:45, public hearing is now open for the adoption of resolution approving CPI and pass-through adjustments to residential solid waste and commercial roll-off solid waste rates.
Mayor, could I make a comment on the last one, just to avoid any confusion? What the council just voted on was the resolution establishing the same program fees. There was absolutely no increase, so I want to make sure that was very clear. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. We have a presentation by City Attorney Graham and City Manager Brown.
I'll be handing that over to Community Development Director Mike Borhoff for the presentation on the solid waste rates.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. Tonight, staff is bringing forward the adoption of resolutions approving CPI and pass-through adjustments to residential solid waste rates, commercial, and roll-off solid waste rates. In March of this year, the city received correspondence from its solid waste hauler, CR&R. And this year, as in every year, we've had slight increases due to CPI adjustments and also from the adjustments that come from the County of Riverside's Waste Management Department. For those reasons, CR&R is requesting a new rate schedule, which passes these adjustments through to the various rates. In addition to this year as well, CR&R is proposing additional minor rate adjustment for commercial roll-off customers only. This rate adjustment is meant to address the city's annual procurement obligations under Senate Bill 1383, which is organic waste. By implementing this new rates adjustments, the city will not have to worry about the annual costs of funding the required procurement of compost mulch each year. And also, it will not, the city will not need to worry about storing thousands of tons of compost mulch each year as well. I know for the last several years, it's been a topic of discussions for various reasons because we weren't sure how we were going to fund the procurement of all this, let alone storing however tons of mulch that we had to. So fortunately, CR&R has come up with a great solution for the city of Canyon Lake, and I'm assuming other municipalities. So that is what they are proposing. And that concludes my report. I'm open for any questions.
City Council have any questions for staff?
I have a question. How would citizens buy some of that mulch or obtain some of that mulch now? In the past, we used to give it away at different events.
Right now, we currently give it away at our citywide cleanup event. There has been some discussions with the POA to maybe house a large amount of mulch that the community can get from. I think within the operations department, but there's still a few things that we have to go through to finalize that, and if that is something that they want, that council wants to see sort of happen here. Part of we did have some discussions with the POA some time ago about this, but they want to have some agreements in place before we move forward with such a program like that for the residents.
If I could jump in, the obstacles to get through at this point are me and Stephen, because there's some liability agreements they want where there's total indemnification of putting the mulch over there, and if somebody got hurt on the mulch, even though it'd be on their property, the city would take that, and it's just a level of liability that sent both of us where we should go. So there will still continue to be the events, but we may have to come up with some other alternatives in addition to that.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
Councilmember Welty, it's a fair question, and I've had the opportunity to talk to both CR&R and obviously staff on this topic, and this stuff isn't the greatest stuff that we're giving away anyways. It's not stuff that you're used to seeing at Home Depot that is a deal, 3 for $10. You know, it's not the greatest stuff in the world. So also just the complexity of having to deal with it, like they had mentioned. I think CR&R, kudos to them for coming up with a solution, because this would be a nightmare for a city our side to have to deal with. I mean, just sitting down with Mr. Borja and talking about the complexity of trying to get rid of that many tonnage of material to our community, even if the POA was taking all of it, it's so hard to do. And, you know, CR&R really came through for a small city like us to have to deal with that. What was the exact number? Do you remember how many tonnage we'd have to deal with?
The initial tons amount was about 882 tons.
It's just, if you guys know ton, it's insane. So I just want to say hats off to CR&R, but also the staff here, because I think you guys fixed a big problem that we would have. And it's unfortunate that, you know, our supplier, our trash, you know, hauler have to continue to deal with the stuff that Sacramento's throwing down their throat. I mean, it is so hard for them to do their job, and it gets harder and harder every single year with legislation that gets pushed on these guys. And kudos to you and the hard work, because it's so hard for them just to come by and pick up our trash. It used to never be like this. It's insane.
I have a quick question. How many bags of mulch did we give at this last event?
I think we had a total of about 6 pallets. Is that correct? And per pallet, I can't remember how many bags, but I think quadruple what we gave the previous year. So a lot of people that were coming to the event were asking for it. So we can definitely increase that every year if we need to.
Could citizens reach out to CR&R and request that?
I'm not sure from a residence stand base, do they want them to be attending or going to CR&R to pick up? It's probably something that we would kind of have to work on and figure out how we can do that with the residents ourselves.
Okay.
One more comment, Mr. Mayor, if I may. I also want to give a shout out, you know, to CR&R, because, you know, they were a big partner in the cleanup that we did this weekend, as most of you saw and you know. And you know, we as council members get complaints from our residents if the trash doesn't get picked up, or if a truck has an incident with hydraulic fluid. But it's Alex who continues to take those calls and deals with those complaints. And I just want to give credit where credit's due. This man continues to deliver for Canyon Lake. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we happen to be one of the smallest cities in the county. But you would never know with the customer service that we get from CR&R. So I just want to say thank you, Alex, for all the hard work that you provide us. And, you know, you deal with all of our complaints. And the fact that you came through to pick up all of our dead fish was a big deal. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Picked up the same day, is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Then we have to deal with it. So, I mean, the big thing is that he answered the phone and it happened as fast as it did. That's pretty incredible. So we have a great relationship with CR&R, and it's impactful. So thank you. Thank you for caring.
Mayor, I can back what the council member said, because I can call Alex anytime and I don't get what, Aaron. I get, hey, Aaron, how you doing? You know, whatever it is, let's get it going. So from the staff side, he's just as professional and welcoming as he is from the elected side.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any testimony by proponents? Any testimony by opponents? Is there any response by proponents? All right. It is 7:54 and this public hearing is now closed. Any additional discussion on behalf of council?
I'll move the item if you need it.
Second.
Thank you. There we go.
Excellent. All right, Madam Clerk, will you do a,
Can we clarify what the second was? I'll take it. And just so the record's clear, we had 0 protests on this item.
Excellent.
And we'll take a roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem Castillo? Aye. Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Stieber?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Terry?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
All right, on to business item number 17. We have a presentation by our city attorney, Stephen Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. What you have before you is a state mandated action in updating our fire hazard severity zones. CAL FIRE is required by state law to use computer models based off of fuel loading, slope, wind, average temperature, looking at the climate for the city, and to update these zones for our properties within our city. You may have heard a lot of our neighboring communities having similar discussion about these maps. There is very little local input permitted by the state on these maps. The city is allowed, similar to the fire code, the city is allowed to increase the standards based off of local conditions that we are aware of, the fire department's aware of, but we may not reduce the zones that the state has identified. So that is all to say, we're bringing this forward to you. We don't really have much of a choice in the matter. You'll also notice that we included it as an urgency ordinance. Technically, we're required to have this ordinance adopted by the end of July. Because you do not have you don't have a meeting in July, we needed to have an urgency ordinance to get it on the books immediately. I did also want to address some issues that I've heard come up in other hearings that I've had on these maps. A lot of folks are asking, is this map going to increase my insurance rates? That's the most common complaint or concern that I hear from residents. The answer to that is no. This map is not going to increase your insurance rates. The insurance companies do not, generally speaking, refer to this map when making their risk assessments. However, when they make their risk assessments, they do make those risk assessments based off of very similar data and very similar considerations, such as the nearby fuel, the slope, the wind, the climate. And so the determinations from insurance companies on what the relative risk is of insuring a particular property usually line up pretty closely to the fire hazard severity that has been indicated on this map. So, obviously fire insurance is a large problem in the state of California at the current moment. Big topic at the state level. The state attempts to regulate the insurance market, but the insurance market is a private enterprise like any other. They're in it to make money. And when you have entire portions of Los Angeles burning to the ground, they have to pay to rebuild all of that. That's not the kind of business where you expect to make money unless you charge pretty large premiums. So that's a state and national level issue. It's not going to be impacted by this map, but I wanted to address it just because it is something that I've heard pretty consistently come up. Happy to answer any questions, and I know that the fire chief has been working on getting this the word out on this since we received it from CAL FIRE. If you have any questions of a technical nature, I'm sure the fire chief's prepared to answer those. Thank you.
Any questions for staff? Madam Clerk, are there any public comment cards on this item?
Mayor, there are not.
I would ask for a motion and a second.
There we go. Now I'm having problems with it. Real quick, what's our rating, Chief? Yeah, you too.
I'm sorry, our ISO rating?
Yeah.
Or our current ISO rating is a 3. We are in the process of getting a new rating done by ISO. We've had 2 meetings with them, and it's a long process. These maps really won't have an impact on that rating as well.
Perfect. That's what I needed to know. Thank you. If you're seeking a motion, I'll make it.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk, could you conduct a roll call vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo? Aye. Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Stieber?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Terry?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, on to committee and council reports. Would like to begin?
I'll be quick.
Councilmember Smith.
I'll be fast. Busy weekend. Saw most of you. City cleanup event with the POA went phenomenal. Thank you for those that participated. Was able to be there to help give out pizza to the volunteers. Ribbon cutting this Saturday. We got to. The mayor did a phenomenal job bringing on Iris. Good job, Mr. Mayor. I thought that was pretty incredible. Just the amount of people that showed up to Iris's ribbon cutting. You want to take a public comment?
Mayor, do you want to take a general public comment?
Certainly. Council okay with that?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. Can you hear me? Kevin Thayer. I think I know most of you. Just want to talk about the lake. I'm surprised there's nobody else here talking. Just fix our lake, please. I feel safe in my house. Seems like we're buying a police. Who doesn't want a police department? Everybody wants a police department. Everybody loves ice cream too. But can we afford a police department? I don't believe we can. You're going to have a hard time convincing that. But what we do need is a clean lake. Anything you can do, any help you need, Jeremy, with Leisure. I didn't know what Leisure was 2 weeks ago. Maybe you can just get the information out there. From what I understand, the water district just took some accountability and they're going to do something. That's what I got from that. And they're not going to use copper sulfate. They're going to try something else, which is great news. But the lake's really important. I cannot believe the room's not full because I don't think it was on your agenda. So just fix our lake. That's the main thing. I can't believe nobody's up here talking about it. I moved here personally for Canyon Lake, and I would joke around with Darcy. The same thing. It's Canyon Lake. When you're unique and valuable, you can name your price. The Canyon Lake eventually is going to probably become pretty valuable because we're the only game in town. Up in the high desert, there's I can't think of the lake right now, but they have winter in the high desert. We don't really have winter down here. So it's like in 2008 was the worst financial situation since the Great Depression, and everybody had an iPhone. It's because it was unique and valuable. Canyon Lake is unique and valuable. I heard a lot of it at your last meeting, how we're unique, so we need a police department because we're unique. We are unique and we're extremely valuable with our lakes. So I feel really bad for the fishermen. I feel bad that nobody's in here talking, so I just want to take a minute of your time. And please, Jeremy, let us know if you need help. I don't even understand Leiswa's role particularly. I've read the mission statement, but the water district just stepped up and said they're going to do something about it. So that's good news. Our lake is sick. That's we're not really pointing fingers at anybody. It's to me, it's overwhelming to think about the watershed of 700 miles. That's what they say. So that's a lot of pollutants that are coming our way. So that's all. Thank you.
Would you like to resume?
Yes, I would. For the gentleman that gave the public comments, I'm available in about 15 minutes after this meeting to talk to you. All right, so city cleanup event went phenomenal this weekend. Ribbon cutting, Mr. Mayor, kudos to you. Good job. We had a huge turnout at Iris's event. I thought that was awesome. I would say there's at least 70 or 80 people there.
Largest ribbon cutting I have attended.
Absolutely, huge. Big turnout. Loved being there. Thank you to the council members that were there. It was awesome seeing y'all, and it's just cool to be part of that. So you did a good job, Mr. Mayor. As far as regional boards, go figure, Leiswa canceled their meeting. June 21st was supposed to be our my second board meeting, and it's got canceled. So I'm a little pissed off about that, but I'll let that be that. We did at RCTC today, we approved to move forward with a $1.8 billion budget. And moving forward with RTA as well, we move forward with our fiscal budget with that agency as well, just over about $110 million. So things are happening regionally, and with that, I'll yield my time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Stever?
Yeah, I'll be fast and brief. It's been busy. Appreciate filling in for the LAUSD authentication. So really outside of state of the city with some of my colleagues here for City of Temecula. That was great regionally. But community-wise, a few weeks ago, right before Memorial, I actually got to spend the morning with our past councilwoman, Dane, and her and I spread American flags all throughout her neighborhood. And so that was kind of awesome being a part of that. And that was for Fiesta Days. That was my first time in the parade and actually seeing everything outside of my street. So it was great seeing the different parks, all the different activities, and I also got to help out with the Mermaids Club being in their dunk tank for a while. So that was kind of great seeing everyone. But really last I want to end with is we're coming up on a Father's Day weekend. It means a lot to me, and I'm looking forward to it with my boys. But gentlemen, happy Father's Day, and to all the other fathers out there in our community, thank you.
Thank you very much. That dunk tank is slightly dangerous.
I think
Zero was first on the list, though, right?
Third.
Clean.
No, I
First
dirtied
from council.
it up.
There's a first from council on that.
Yeah, first council.
Council, so that's
Yeah.
okay.
I woke up a little sore the next day.
You got to lean forward.
I don't think I'm volunteering for that anymore.
I did it last year with Bud. So.
Councilman Welty.
Yeah. Get the microphone working. You have to have a magic thumb. This morning I attended Southwest Riverside elected officials. They're taking a trip to Sacramento to talk to state officials about getting funding for the roads in Southwest Riverside. And of course, that includes the 15, which includes all of Riverside. So they're sending up reps from Menifee, Marietta, Temecula, WRCOG, RCTC. They're all going up. They're going to meet with state legislatures and state commissions and bang on them. There's a feeling we're kind of like the unknown area in the state. They don't know if we're part of LA or if we're out in the middle of the boonies. Right now, I think a lot of the state thinks we live in the boonies. So it's nice to get some face time and get some clarification about who we are up to our legislators. The other comment I have is about the 4th of July. As we all know, it can get pretty crazy around here. I kind of have a personal rule. I don't call anyone into the gate that day that I wouldn't invite into my house to stay. So if someone comes up to you and says, hey, can our Little League come down to the 4th of July? Try to refrain from calling in 35 kids and parents you don't know and filling up our beaches. It gets crowded. We like to have guests. It's a great thing to do. But try to at least limit yourself to guests that are personally important to you. We've all been here. I'm looking in the room at people and how long we've all been here, and we've seen the years where it's gotten really crazy, and it's been a big detriment to those of us who live here. So just be aware and be conscientious of your fellow citizens. The other thing is I attended SCAG. SCAG is getting ready for the Olympics, so the Olympics are coming. And everybody get where you're going to hear about the traffic. You're going to hear about the ways to get tickets. So it is coming. I also attended T-Now, and they had a safety presentation in Lake Elsinore about Railroad Canyon, primarily the Elsinore piece. And basically, the common thing is slow down. They are going to do some upgrades to the safety, but no matter how many upgrades you do, there's always a safe speed for the conditions and what the road is. And it appears, especially down by the church, that people are going much faster than safe conditions. And there's been some severe accidents down there. So we're, of course, looking at our section of Railroad Canyon for safety improvements. So please slow down. It's not. It feels like a great place to drive, but it is not a raceway. So that's all my comments.
Where are you going tomorrow night?
Oh, tomorrow night we're going to the WRCOG, which is called the annual
General Assembly
meeting. So we'll be going down there. That will be an exciting meeting. And the Bullfrog, what's the admiral's name?
McCraven.
Okay, Admiral McCraven, the one that says he wrote the book about the importance of making your bed. He'll be there. I'm excited to see him and to hear him. So. Yeah,
Mr. Mayor, real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to Councilmember Welty. Thank you for going to those T-Now meetings. They mean a lot to me, and my schedule does not allow to attend them. They're really cool, and I'm just happy that you're able to go so we have a Canyon Lake presence, because we usually host at least once a year, and we did a little bit ago, but thank you for going to those. Those are really important.
You're a workhorse.
Yeah, you're making it happen.
Really appreciate it, and our residents should recognize that. All right. Mayor Pro Tem Castillo.
Thank you. I wanted to say congratulations to all the graduates because school is out for summer. You know, I have a ninth grader and a seventh grader now. I know Councilmember Welty's son is off to college, and Stieber has a ninth grader now. And then what is Joshy? Fifth grade, and then, you know, first grade and third grade. So exciting. So just a reminder to be careful, because now we will have more children out and about in the community. On that note, we are still looking for junior lifeguards. Tryouts in partnership with the POA will be at the Lodge Pool on June 21st at 8 o'clock. Until 10, parent information will be there from the lifeguards. This partnership is also with the Lake Elsinore School District this year, which is providing bus transportation. So there's still room on the buses for those lifeguards. Our Canyon Lake specific session for Lake Paris this year will be the 21st of July to the 1st of August, which understandably is a little bit later in the season, but it is basically reserved for Canyon Lake kids. So we're super lucky to have that from the California State Parks. So we're really grateful for that. And I wanted to say that Darcy Burke is amazing. And I'm grateful that she continuously makes herself available by internet, Facebook, cell phone for our residents. And for those residents who do not take the time to educate themselves, please feel free to reach out to her. She is constantly advocating for those communications. She's a resource. She's very approachable. I don't know how she has the hours in the day that she does, but she will make time for you to speak to you and answer your questions. Additionally, she is a Canyon Lake resident, and the other members of the Water District, as kind as they are not. Her interests are absolutely local. So please reach out to her if you have questions rather than making assumptions. I think that everyone would benefit for the information that you learn and can share.
Well said.
Thank you.
Great thing about being mayor is you guys all basically knock off my list by the time it gets here. But I do want to go back to Saturday afternoon. The reason I moved here 25 years ago was the community. And I had an opportunity to go thank all the volunteers who worked on the lake. And they're the reason I'm not leaving. We love, I was talking to Councilmember Smith. It's a living body, and it's sick. And we got to take care of it. I assure you, board members, council members, POA staff, city staff, they recognize the urgency. They recognize our residents. In thanking our residents on Saturday, and I spoke to Councilmember Smith about this, you know, there's a sense of, hey, I helped out the lake, but there was also a little bit of dismay. They just went out and scooped up fish. And we you know, a lot of attention on the the bald eagles up in Big Bear. We don't always equate that to fish, but that is our wildlife. It was pretty horrific what they had to see, what they had to do. And I want you to know, I want our residents to know that we recognize that. More importantly, we are going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And hopefully when we do, we're not only helping our lake today, but we are actually doing things that will ensure that we are prepared in the future. I think Councilmember Welty have seen actions not taken in the past, that information would have been golden had we had it this year. And I am committed. I know I hesitate to speak on behalf of any other council member. I am committed to making sure that we take every possible advantage of the attention, of the information that we receive, and that we apply that as a lesson learned and a game path for the future. 4th of July is coming up. We ready, Captain? I want you to have a great time with your family. I want you to breathe a little bit. enjoy Independence Day, and be safe. And with that, we will meet again on August 13th, and this meeting is adjourned. We may have.